everyone, Sam and I are back, and we're super excited to be working with Penguin Palace stamps for this installment of Too Many Cards. If you're new to Penguin Palace, Sharon launched her company almost 2 years ago and is based in Vancouver, Canada. Penguin Palace products are sweet, cheerful, and sure to bring a smile to everyone who creates with them or receives a card made with them. Sam and I are featuring the Rabbit Cafe stamps and dies, as well as the Rain of Hearts and Cyber Wallpaper stencils. As always, all of the supplies I use in this video are linked below. I'll be creating 2 horizontal cards so I can pack in as many of these adorable images as possible across my scenes. I start by stamping multiples of almost all the images. The only ones I didn't use were the lamppost, the banner, and the candy. I prep my watercolor paper with the magic embossing bag to keep the embossing powder from sticking anywhere other than the ink. Then I stamp the images with VersaFine Onyx Black Pigment ink, apply Ranger Clear Embossing Powder, and heat set everything with my Wagner heat tool. I do most of the stamping in my Misty stamping tool, then use an acrylic block to quickly add 3 little clouds to make the most of the watercolor panel. Now it's time to color all of the images. I'm using Tim Holtz Distress Inks. I've smushed 15 colors on my medium mat, and you can find all those listed in the supply links below. I'm going to put on some music and fast forward through this coloring process 20 times. After the coloring is done, I use removable tape to hold the coordinating dies in place and die cut all the images in my Spellbinder's Platinum 6 die cutting machine. I just love this process, and seeing all these cuties cut out makes me so happy. To create the setting for my first card, I'm going to use the Rain of Hearts stencil to create strips of patterned paper. I adhere the watercolor panel to my medium mat with washi tape. Then I place the stencil on top. I use 4 colors from the distress inks I used to color the images and ink it up with my Tailored Expressions blender brushes. The stencil is so gorgeous, and I love the way it turned out. I even love how it left that solid strip at one end, and I didn't want to cut it up, but I can always make another one. I used shimmer spritz on the hearts to give it some sparkle, which again made me want to keep this panel as it was. I just love the way these 4 colors look together. I used ripe persimmon, wild honey, peacock feathers, and lucky clover. Next, I take my Fiskars paper trimmer and cut strips from the panel. I purposely picked different sections separating the hearts where the bumps dip in the center, so some strips will be thicker than others. If you're trying this yourself, you can cut these strips in any way. Now I'm going to use a 1-inch strip of masking paper to mask off the bottom of the front panel and sponge a sky. I'm using old paper distress ink for this, instead of the typical blue sky. For the second card panel, I'm using Tattered Rose for the sky. To create a cobblestone to look for the ground on this card, I lightly ink blend with Hickory Smoke and then place the Cyber Wallpaper on top and ink blend again with Hickory Smoke, pressing harder to give it the diamond pattern. Now I'm going to assemble the various strips for the first card. These will act as tiled or painted steps for my little cafe scene. It needed something more striking at the horizon, so I added a strip of gold glitter cardstock. I used 1/8 inch score tape to adhere the strips together, and then I used liquid glue to adhere the whole section onto the front panel. After stamping and heat embossing the sentiment, I attach the panel to the card base. Then I can start to attach all of the images onto the card and finish my scene. I just love this punny sentiment, beautiful day. I pop up the girl with foam tape and attach the cafe with glue dots. The girl's bunny friend is waiting with 2 cupcakes, so those are attached to the table with glue dots. I pop up the table and the bunny on her chair with foam tape. And now my first card is done. I love all the shimmer and shine from the heat embossing, shimmer spritz on the heart stencil, and also the gold glitter strip. I totally want that girl's outfit. And the bunny is so cute I want to pinch it. Let's move on to the second card. Again, I'm going to stamp the sentiment. This time I'm going to combine the other words in the stamp set to create a longer sentiment that reads, "Stay sweet, coffee lover." I attach the inanimate objects with glue dots and pop up the girl and bunnies with foam tape. After the overhanging bits have been trimmed off, I can attach the panel to the card base. Now my card is done. I imagined that the girl and her bunny friend were just leaving to go shopping, and I love that fancy barista heading out to serve another customer in the seating area. Here's a recap of the 2 projects I made with the Rabbit Cafe stamps and dies, as well as the Rain of Hearts and Cyber Wallpaper stencils. For this first one, I used the Rain of Hearts stencil in a unique way to create pretty steps like in a European piazza. For my second card, I also used a stencil at the bottom of the card to create cobblestones, but in a more traditional way. I arranged the images differently to create a different feel for this particular cafe. Looking at the 2 cards together, it's easy to visualize a slimline card with an even bigger street scene, with more customers and shops. Be sure to leave a comment here and on Sam's YouTube video for your chance to win one of 2 $10 discount coupons to the Penguin Palace store. Comments will close at 11:59 p.m. Eastern on June 27th, 2020, and the winner will be announced before our next Too Many Cards videos go live. Please check back to see if you've won. Thanks so much for all your love and support for this video series. If you enjoyed today's video, please click on the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. Be sure to head to my blog for all the details, more photos, and a full supply list. Thanks so much for watching.